All right. So we had 4 people, Archangels in 6th. Let's see what we got. Wow. So chat's been aligned with us for the last 2. Well done, chat. You're right. So I had them in 5th.
Always right.
Spider had them in 6th, and Runt also had them in 6th. On the points, we have Easy Point, Sega, Mantis, Grays, who was Grays at Bendigo Nuts, and then was Shiri Kitty at Preenuts 1, and is now Grays. Jellyhawk and Villain, which, if I'm not mistaken, is the same lineup as Preenuts 1. Yes?
Yeah, I'll probably change that back to Shurikity. I don't know how she went back to Grays. Yeah. No, she's stuck with Shurikity forever.
Why don't you take it away?
These guys are going into Preenuts 2 looking a lot better than they were going into 1, I think. Which is good, because 1 they were kind of going in a bit disjointed, but they've really pulled it together for that Cascade 1. Jumped up to 3rd place, went too high, then got slapped back down. But yeah, I think they're going to go in a lot stronger to begin with, especially with some newer teams at H2. I think they're going to start off very high in the competition. Unfortunately, we do usually see them struggle a bit in Ascensions, so that's why they might not be as highly rated on these predictions as they could be based on how they're going to play the majority of the comp. I'm really hoping that they can just push through right to the end and really play those clean games at the end of the comp and win some Ascension games, because I think they're going to be very strong this time. They're looking very coordinated. I've been playing some games with them in games. It's very clean. Their changeovers are quick. They know what's going on. They're controlling in games, which is what we'd like to see.
Yeah, well, that's about as good as it gets, huh? Preenuts 1, go back, train hard, brush up on your stuff, go to the next comp, even better. So that's really exciting. So on the point of them doing quite well at Preenuts 1, so it was 13 teams. They finished in 8th place, but were as high as 3rd place after Cascade 1. So kind of lining up with what you said, earlier in the comp, they were able to reach some high highs, but struggled with the caliber of the teams and players at the top. But the more time you spend at the top, the more you climatize, and then the next time you go there, you have a bit easier of time breathing, to continue with that analogy. So a note I had was that this team was one of the least denied at Preenuts 1. Runt pointed out that was because they played more of a defensive kind of strategy, so you'd expect that.
Yeah.
Have they been changing their strategy at all, or have they been playing the same kind of more defensively focused game?
I think least denied at Preenuts 1 was definitely a symptom of playing probably a bit too defensive. Often bases would be got by other teams and they wouldn't be jumping onto the attack straight away. They'd just still try to defend a bit too long. Often they're a bit cautious in their base takes. They'll clear 3 players and wait for a clear call, and we've really been pushing into them recently. Nah, just shoot it. She'll be right. You gotta just send it. Not getting denied, that's bad. We like denials. Denials good. It means you're getting bases shots. So I'm hoping they play a bit more aggressive at Preenuts too, because they're really good at the close game, but then when it opens up, they often weren't joining in with the openness as fast as they needed to. So I think if they're going to try and keep those games closed, because that's what's good for them, but hopefully Preenuts 2, they'll be a bit faster to open up with the rest.
Yeah, it's I'm always a big advocate for, in training, just putting shots onto bases all the time. I've gotten pretty decent at taking bases, to toot my own horn for a half a sec. And I would attribute a lot of that from in my earlier years. I say my earlier years. I'm always putting just stupid shots onto bases. But in doing so, you're really able to push the boundaries of what what bases are takeable. You know what I mean? If you're always just waiting for a clear come, sure, you'll get your clean bases and stuff, but sometimes at the highest levels, you'll see games are decided by one clutch base, and that clutch base isn't it's usually not clean as. It's pretty messy, it's pretty chaotic, but by putting shots into bases all the time in training, you kind of get a better understanding of like what you're capable of, I guess, and you can really and it for you to succeed in those more chaotic situations when you're putting shots on bases and not waiting for clear comes, it forces you to you have to pop off, otherwise you're getting denied. So yeah, everyone shoot bases all the time in training. Obviously, when it gets to competition time, maybe curb that back a little bit. But yeah, I'm a big advocate for that. So Spider, have you got any notes or anything you want to say about these guys?
Yeah, it's probably like direct criticism to them. But I saw them in Bendigo, and I thought like originally it was kind of like a pool of people that were trying to get on Vikings. But then when I like watched them play, I was like, you should totally scratch that and just stay as a team, because watching them play, like there's so much potential, and I don't know if they see it, because they all just like have a laugh and kind of like they take it seriously, but they also know how to just have fun with it. And I think that's where they strive really, really well. And I think like looking at Vikings and Archangels in Hobart, it's like two very good teams if they keep playing. And I think it's probably good for you too, Brendan, to have like that kind of team in your scene that is like still super competitive as well. And if they have like boosted up in a bit of skill and picked up some stuff, I saw Sega with his prediction, he put himself like their team really high up, and I was like, damn, they've learnt something and they're confident. So I just it's a team where like I don't clash with anyone. They're all just there, and they're really like nice people. So I think it's just gonna be fun to verse them. And I think again, like you said, they're probably gonna start off really high, and then it's gonna be like, what did you learn from pre-1? How long can you stay in that position for? When it comes to like crunch games, I think when they get like pressure, I think they feel it. It's one of those teams that doesn't have experience under pressure. And I think that's what separates the top teams. Is like even in a pressure situation, you just keep playing your game and you just play the same you always do. You don't need to change anything. I think if they can like get that under wraps, then yeah, they'll have a blast.
Well said.
Yeah, very, very well said. I don't have any notes left for these guys, but yeah, like Spider said, they had some really good showings at Pre-Nats 1. Even like Bendigo Nats, they had some like really, really good games there as well. So yeah, they're just continuing to improve. What Runt said before about how how many phaser shots they're hitting and barrel sensors they're hitting. Could definitely see this team climbing a couple positions. I don't see them dropping below 6th, but I could see them maybe going up 1 or 2. But chat, if we can get your predictions for the 5th place team, we'll just wrap up the Hobart Archangels. So, gentlemen, have you got any last parting thoughts for these guys?
I'm just trying to think of the teams above them, because I just know the defense is just so solid. Like Jelly in Anchor is nuts. He's crazy. Even when you get in the base and you start putting shots on, he's the one to hit your phaser from outside the base every single time. And Easy Points has been doing similar to of just focusing barrel shots, so they've both been railing me. So I think they're going to punish some out-of-state players really hard on those barrel shots. So yeah, this is one of those teams that you'll feel the home side. You will feel that they know these packs.
I think just like knowing their play style and everything like that, I think this will be a team that we clash with heaps. I think if anyone gets in a game where it's like later in the comp and it's us, these guys, and someone else, like that someone else is just no fun at all. We're just going to be like both heavy defending, just waiting for an opportunity. The third team will like do something, and we'll just like jump. Just be a blowout.
Oh, you're so right.
But we'll see. Who knows?
Alrighty. We had 5 predictions for Catalorcas in 5th place and 1 for Rampage in 5th place. So drum roll. We have Catalorcas, 5th place. I had them predicted for 6th. Spider and Runt had them predicted for 5th.
Yeah, baby.
And we have Simi Bear, Wham Fox, Hybrid, Lilbo, and Mr. Meeseeks. So Simi Bear, Lilbo, and Mr. Meeseeks were all at Prenuts 1. So like we've been saying previously, that's going to be, you know, a big bonus for this team. You know, a little bit, you know, obviously like having not been playing, like they've gone high and played on their other system, they'll take like a few games to maybe get back into the swing of Helios 2, but it won't be as much of like a shock to the system as it was for Prenuts 1. So I expect them to get up to speed with Helios 2 and the barrel sensors pretty quick. And then, you know, they'll be able to console Hybrid and Wham Fox when they're like, dude, I'm just getting shot out of bases all the time. What's going on? And they're like, yeah, the barrel sensors are pretty good, huh? You know, they can, you know, give them a shoulder to cry on and stuff like that. God knows I needed that at Prenuts 1. What did I have? So this is I think the first of our truly mixed teams. Like, so Adelaide Aegis had a mix of Adelaide players, but they're all from Adelaide. This is the first one we have players from different states. So we have Mr. Meeseeks, Simi, and Hybrid from WA, and then Wham Fox and Lilbo from Queensland. So it's always the thing we say with the mixed teams is, you know, if they're able to synergize and get their stuff together within the very like relatively short time frame, all good players. You know, obviously Wham Fox, one of the best like door defenders ever, absolute nightmare to deal with in a door. Hybrid, one of the best field pointing pack players we've had ever. So good players. Could see them if they can like really get their stuff together. They could definitely like climb a spot, maybe even 2. Who knows? But if they're not able to get those synergies together and stuff, I could see them dropping below the Hobart Archangels. Hence why I had Archangels in 5th. But boys, did you have anything you want to say about this team?
I mean, Hybrid is just gonna go off here. He's just gonna absolutely love this arena, I think. So many pack points, and he loves being in the pack points and just getting all of them. And he's gonna just go nuts with that. Lilbo was also very strong at Prenuts 1. He adjusted to the phaser very well. He's becoming a very solid player. Like, you see the improvements strong with him. Like, the difference between him at Bendigo and him at Pre 1 was massive difference. So you've got two very strong attackers there as well. I think they'll generally want like sort of 4-base games where Lilbo and Hybrid get their bases, and then they just play defensive and pack points from there. And I think if you have a game like that against them, they're going to do very well out of it, and they're going to beat some good teams doing that. But if the game sort of blows out, or you can maybe even lock Hybrid out of his bases, you might be looking at sort of punishing him a little bit. I also think the playstyle that Wham Fox and Meeseeks normally use just didn't seem very effective Prenuts 1 as much. So like that locking your phaser on your body and just leaving it out, or that sort of like dueling in the open with the timing, it's just not as viable anymore. You really need to play those panels and be mobile. So I think they might struggle a little bit.
Simi's pointed it out. I did have it in my notes as well, but Simi and AJ did play with Wham Fox at a Prenuts. I think it was Prenuts 2 in Bendigo. So they do have some experience together there. Thank you for pointing that out, Simi. I did forget to say it. And she's trained with Wham in Queensland. All right. Yeah, Spider. What do you got to say?
I have concerns. This is like the one team that I kind of watched not this team specifically, but Simi, Meeseeks, and Lilbo. I watched a bit at Pre 1, and I noticed just like a little bit of struggle with the phaser discipline. And I'm just looking at the team now, going through like a lineup and how they're going to set themselves up around a base and in a base. And I'm not confident, but I want to be, because every single person on this team is just like so good and such a good person. But I think, yeah, this is like the real chunk, like Brendan said earlier, that is just going to like flip and switch all over the place. I don't think it's going to be very set throughout the comp. I think like all these teams are going to win games they shouldn't, and then lose games they shouldn't, and it's just going to be like a bit of a mess until we get towards like the finals. Yeah, I think Lil Bo. Whoa, hello. I think Lil Bo did like better at pre-1 than I was expecting, which is good because I did throw a little shade at him. So he definitely proved that. But yeah, I think it's gonna be really a matter of how Wham and Hybrid slot in, and I'm just trying to like picture how this team runs in a game. And yeah, I think like out of experience and ability, I think like where they're predicted is where they're going to place, and I think it's a pretty like solid guess. But yeah, I really want to come straight back to this after prenats and just be like, yeah, I was wrong the whole time.
Yeah. What was I gonna say? I had something and now it's gone. Bear with me.
I think they're gonna need to play those heavy defensive games where you sort of defend with numbers, because I'm not sure if they really have anyone that's gonna like be good in those bases that's really played a bunch of anchoring roles. I keep coming back to it, but it's just so important to have on the team as someone that's just really solid in those bases.
Maybe Simi has some insight for us in the chat. Have you guys discussed who's gonna be like doing what?
I think Simi might have played a bit in the base at pre-1, but if she's captaining, I'm not sure if she'll be able to do that too much. Otherwise, you sort of lose track of the team. But maybe that's the play.
I remember seeing Meeseeks under green a lot, and my concern is that I kept seeing him double, and it was all phaser. So
okay.
I'm not like that's where a big concern comes, because I see on this team Meeseeks being like probably one of the better people to have, like mobile, kind of being like on a door and in the base, like going in and out. But yeah, I'm just not sure.
Simi said you'll see me fall back this time. Does that mean you're going to be last lining, Simi? Is that what that means? Or anchoring, as Runt likes to say.
I reckon they put hybrid last line. Could be a good strat.
Hybrid last line. That could go off.
Keep
also,
him out of the main.
Bit off topic, but so I've always said last line, and I've heard anchor as well. I know Runt says anchor spider. Last line or anchor?
Last line for sure.
Yeah? Yeah, that's what I'm saying, dude.
It's hard, right? Because
the people get sad being called anchor, or is it just because it's makes more sense?
Hold up, I tried to do a poll and I messed it up. Poll new, name the position. Yeah, I said I wasn't going to do these polls because they're too
I love how much trash Wax is talking in the chat. He's going to come to nationals and just like get pooped on.
I assume he'll at least play Predators 3, right?
Oh, maybe.
Right, never mind. Nightbot doesn't want to do a poll for me, so that's fine. Whatever. Anyway, point is, Runt, you're wrong. It's last line. Thanks. Discussion over.
It takes too long to say.
No.
It's so much more fun going, oi, anchor, go, and then just running away.
Float tag 1 said, I'm pretty new. What's an anchor / last line? Well, a last line is typically the defender that you have inside the base, within the base lines. I guess that's only the only real like criteria for it, right?
It's like ironically, the last line of defense.
The last line of defense. That's crazy, dude.
Yeah, it's the last player before, like you have to tag before you get the base. Realistically, it doesn't have to be in the base. Like normally it is, but everything's kind of just like general in laser tag. We all know this. It's all grey.
Yeah. I'm seeing a whole lot of people saying last line in the chat. I'm going to ignore the few people that have everyone in the chat has said last line.
That's a blatant lie, but I get it.
Even my own teammate, Holcomb, is saying last line and anchor are totally different positions, and we don't even use anchor, so I don't know what's happening.
I use anchor in Elim, So my anchor in
Yeah,
England
yeah.
for me is like the one, like if you have like a person that just sits and their whole job is to stop a team from advancing so that you can advance the other way.
Yeah.
That's when I use it.
But then, yeah, some other teams call it like a backstop, and so there's like anchor or backstop. Or last
No,
line.
it's definitely anchor.
Backstop.
Anyway, moving tangent. We'll move on.
What do you call it, Brendan?
Backstop. Backstop.
Yeah.
Right.
When did people start saying last line? Last line's a recent thing. It was always anchor when I played.
No.
Yeah, when you were like 12.
Yeah, literally. I was 12 and the only word I heard was anchor.
Anyway,
Manta said, I think mainlanders are cooked at this point. Yeah, whatever.
where's New Zealand? We need them.
They'll settle the debate for us. Anyway, chat. No more. Can I get your predictions for 4th place? Whilst the boys, do we have any parting thoughts for Catalorcas?
They're gonna go up and down a lot, like more than any other team, I reckon. They're gonna take big games and lose some dumb ones.
I think it's just going to be a fun team to verse. It's just going to be like, I reckon you can kind of judge, well, personally, can kind of judge like the rest of the teams in the list, but I think this is one of the teams, potentially with the next team as well. But it's just going to be like a bit of a coin flip. And we won't really know until we start playing, see how like smoothly they jump in.
I just wanted to point out, Cyrix just said that last lines are the last line of defense, anchors way down the team. That's a good one. That's a good way to think about it. Thanks for settling that debate.
Yeah, so it is
Cyrix.
because people got bad. Soft.
All right. So we got Rampage back to 4th place. So we got 1, 2, 3, 4th place Adelaide Anchors. 1, 2, 3, 4,
The 6th
5.
Adelaide team.
We got 5 for Rampage in 4th place. Chat. You're doing pretty good, chat. You're right. And we're all gonna be right, I think. So I had them in 3rd place. And Spider and Runt had them in 4th place. So we have same lineup as Prenuts 1, Spider, Zam, Sadlamp, Polchrome, Princess, and Wild Card.
However,
Spider, I'll let you. Well, before you go, actually, I want to point out. Sorry, I'm gonna burp. Cracky. Sorry, guys. My bad. The soup's coming back up. Church is disappointed me in the other room. She heard that one. So you guys actually had the biggest climb at Prenuts 1. You went from 9th place to 4th place, and that was in the finals series, which is cool. Spider, you finished the comp with the highest tag ratio, and you were the 2nd highest GRC behind Master Runt. Your whole team had a tag ratio above 1, which is cool, and that's all I have. Spider, what have you got to say for yourself?
Yeah, I think we touched on this before, but the tag ratio above 1 probably just comes from our defensive game. Just standing back and shooting people and not getting bases is apparently the way we play laser tag.
It is, it is good to see your newer guys pulling in those tag ratios, though, because yeah, I think in the past, like your teams has kind of been like the newer guys are getting a bit riled, but it looks like they're coming up to level now. They're getting it up.
Yeah, so
Getting it up.
someone quote that.
You're gonna get us banned off Twitch.
Yeah, just to clarify, I believe we've confirmed it, but Princess had to bail last minute for personal reasons. So we're probably going to be jumping as a team of 5, which will change the way we do things because Princess pretty much has a very set position on the team. And now we're going to have to try and fill that. So I think it'll be good because it mixes up the team a bit more. It means we get a bit more diversity, which is what we've been training. The biggest thing we learned in Bendigo is that our new players were really comfortable at home, where anyone that's played our arena, it's very tight and panel based. But when you get into mazes where it's open and you're dueling 24/7, you have to be mobile. So that's all we've been training really, is just being mobile and like training up your awareness to like track players and count deactivations and everything. So I think that's where in pre-nats 1 that was a really big test for the newer guys, and I think that's where they like thrived heaps, and they were just really good. Like I think our whole mentality as a team was really really strong at pre-1, and that's where it put us in a good spot. However, pre-2 I think will be a bit different. I think classic, our team will like drop very low. I think we'll be playing like the lower side of the comp, even though it's only 9 teams. And depending what we decide to do as a team, normally pre-nats is just done like for training. We don't really play to win a comp. The only comp we try and win is nationals, and so we just kind of like play whatever we need to do to have fun and learn. And then when it comes to finals day, if we're feeling really good, we'll be like, all right, let's like put some things in place and try and like perform. And then other than that, it's just kind of like, oh well, let's just like bail. And I think that's what Brendan said. It's kind of like a coin flip if we like get the wooden spoon or if we climb 11 spots. Kind of like depends. I think you'll see pretty standard stuff. We're probably just going to have Zam run our attack again. He hasn't really done that in the past, but tried in Bendigo and is like getting a lot better at it very quickly. Myself and Silamp tend to play like on the doors and kind of like push back and forth, and then the other guys fill the gaps. So you probably have like Pulchrome and Wildcard swapping between last line and like second attack, something like that.
Yeah, right. So you said Zam is like running the attacks. Is he captaining as well, or do you make the big strategical decisions in the game?
I think it's like a bit of both. It's always been me, and like the only reason I started captaining is because I had to. Like there was no one else to like captain and really like push a team into the ground like soldiers. And so now that we've kind of got a core team together, I'm really trying to like offload that because I don't think it's something I should be doing. But at the same time, Zam has like struggled with confidence in making calls. So we kind of like bounce off each other. He's out in the field, so he sees everything. So if he makes a call, we'll follow it. But same thing goes if I'm at home and something like happens in the game, I'll just run to Max and then just be like, "We're doing this," and he's like, "Oh, okay." And so yeah, I think it's kind of like hand in hand. But it's a lot of Zam and I communicating in the maze, and trying to stay separate. We don't like to be together at any time.
Yeah. Fair enough. Runt, have you got anything to say about these guys?
I think Zam played the best at Prenats 1 that I've seen him play before. He was crazy with it. He was really bloody good at like paneling, timing, just really bloody good at rolling, which is what you need when you're leading attack. And he's really smart too. So I think he's in the perfect role, and it's gonna push this team far having him there. Yeah, I think I saw a few doubles from Wildcard just regarding that phase of discipline. It's hard not to on H2, but it is something that can be avoided if you just focus that patience and stuff. So I do want to see him really hone that last line role, and yeah, just really pick up those H2 skills. And I think with the prenouts under his belt, he's really going to. And then yeah, you've got Pulchrome, usually opening attacker kind of deal. He's solid at lunging, but often struggles with game sense, I think. So hopefully with a few more competitions under his belt, he's going to start really going well too. So yeah, I think very bright future very shortly for this team. It'll be interesting not having Princess there. I think, yeah, good. It'll be a good thing because Princess's role is pretty set. Every Nationals I see him is just on a door. So it'll be good to get these guys even more practice being in every game.
Yeah. No, just I think is something to be said. Like we don't see it very much in tag. I think it's happening more in like the more recent years, but just like a team sticking together over the course of like a few tournaments. Yeah, like I know, like I mean, in Adelaide, like every team changed like drastically from year to year, which probably like shot us like it was probably like we're kind of shooting ourselves in the foot there, because you know, if you always change it, you can't develop that like depth of like synergy and stuff, right? You're kind of always starting at like around 0 when you make a new team. So I'm excited. You know, do you guys have plans to go to Prenup 3, Spider?
Yeah, we're kind of like very tunnel vision in what we want within Sydney. We've been struggling for ages, so it's kind of like we're doing every single comp we can together to just try and fast track progress, really.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think if, you know, a team that goes to all 3 prenuts with the same roster, by the time Nats comes around, like especially because it's Helios 2, you guys are going to be, a force to be reckoned with by the time Nats comes around. So I'm really excited to see how you guys do.
I think we might see the most diverse top tier of laser tag we've seen in a very long time coming up soon, because it feels like those weaker states have been bringing it up a lot recently.
Really trying to like, now that we have that Helios 2 kind of like refresh, where like if there's a year we're going to push hard, it's like this year and next year, because it's where you like each state is relatively even. Like obviously the argument is that you guys have Helios 2 so you can train it, but I really think like if you play all 3 pre-nats and then you go to nats and play all of your training in round robin and cascades, I don't think there's going to be too much of a difference this early on. Yeah, this early on Helios 2, I don't think you guys have enough time to really have too much of an advantage.
No, we're still getting caught out with dumb shots on our guns and stuff. Like it takes a long time, I think.
Yeah, it's one of those things where, for anyone improving on anything, I guess, you know, initially it takes like conscious effort to do it. Some things like it takes more conscious effort than others, but I think the resisting the urge to show your phaser when people are like giving you shots is like really, really, really hard to like overcome. And it's a conscious effort, but it's a, you know, it's a pretty like high energy conscious effort, right? But I guess the idea is if you make a conscious effort doing anything and you do it enough times, it gets to the point where it's now a subconscious thing and you don't have to think about it, and now your mind's more clear to focus on like the more important things, I guess. You know, really into like that flow state and stuff. So yeah, I think that was something I found myself doing at Prenuts 1, was a fairly significant amount of like my brain power was going towards the conscious effort of resisting to show my phaser.
Yeah.
It's pretty crazy. It did mean, you know, putting conscious effort to things like that does result in like slower reaction times. You know, maybe people tell you a comm and you hear it, but you don't process it because like you've only got so much conscious energy you can devote to things, right? But yeah, people go to prenuts, you know, put the conscious effort in there to like getting your phaser tilts discipline good. By the time Nats comes around, you know, and you've done your training, you've done round robin, you know, getting deep into those cascades, like it should be something you don't have to think about. But I think it is going to be the big thing that separates the best players from everyone else come nationals time.
I think that's the exciting thing, is like that's all I wanted to do at Pre 1, even though it was so early, was just like find the meta and just like, because the phaser is something we're not used to, just finding different ways to use it. And I was like totally abusing that all through Pre 1, and then I came home and was trying to like replicate stuff on Helios 2, on Helios Pro, and it just doesn't work. That's why I've just been so eager, like antsy to get back.